one thing she kept talking about is how uh, she wanted to join AmeriCorps. This is in the mid 90s, it's about 96, 97, and how she wanted to become a wildland firefighter, and she did it. Um, but I'm reading this article to 2002, and I had a flashback to when I was in the trailer down on the river.
Okay.
I seen this story and I remember it because my heart sank because I wondered if it was her. Except she had a hyphenated last name of Johnny at the end.
One of those people, huh?
Well, that's fine. And I looked at the picture and then I was like, oh yeah, I remember this now. So basically, she became a firefighter in 2002. She graduated and her crew was Engine 11 this year. This was July 28th of 2020 or 2002, was sent to aid a suppression fire in Calumet National Forest in Northern California. Unfortunately, while patrolling a backfire in the early morning hours, a rear tire of her rig that she was driving slid off the dirt logging road. The water that was in the rig shifted, causing that rig to tumble 1,059 feet down the side of a mountain. Her and two of her crew members did give her their lives. That was a kick in the gut. But
I can imagine.
One of the things I remember, you remember how Big Sky was with the housing?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever go to the mountain lodge side on the other side where it was individual rooms with an outside walkway?
No, I think I may have walked through there. That was that was 1997.
That was so long ago. Well, just imagine like 100.
The main thing I remember about the place is they had heated sidewalks, so then none of them had ice on it.
Yeah, and it didn't work out well. A lot of the next winter they broke.
That being 18 and walking around a ski resort on New Year's Eve with a borrowed bottle of tequila.
Well, the interesting thing about Big Sky is, if you work there season to season, you get a new shot of young people there, and you're a young person.
It's almost like a college dorm without the education.
It is or you can almost say it's like a work camp, right?
Yeah.
So I was in Mountain Lodge, and she needed a roommate, and I was a manager of the kitchen at the time, so I had my own room. I said, you know what, Heather, you can definitely stay here. You're awesome people. She was kind of, I think, getting ready to leave. And I remember one time I had met this girl. And this just sticks in my mind. And we're kind of hanging out in the Mountain Lodge room, and what it had is it had a bunk bed, but then it had two basic and L shape from between the bunk bed and the window to the outside that could be used for beds. And me and this girl kind of hanging out, making out, and Heather comes through that fucking window because she didn't have a key to the.
Whoops.
And I tell you what, that chick I was with was out of there in
Don't look, Ethel.
Beat.
Too late. She done got a knife, fool.
So yeah, it was one of those. Like, son of a bitch.
Give me a drink.
Shut down by my roommate, man. I evidently wasn't wise enough to put something.
You got ovary blocked
at the time.
You got ovary blocked.
Yep. So, man, there's definitely some stories I'm starting to remember from that place back.
That's a hell of a way to go, though.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad it wasn't by a fire. I am so glad it wasn't by a fire. But, it is a hell of a way to go. And I give it to those the firefighters out there doing what I haven't done. They're strong enough, evidently stronger than me, to go out there and fight these fires, So speaking of fires, kind of interesting, and we won't go long into this. Unbeknownst to me, I noticed I didn't see the news. I was like, oh, I don't see nothing out of Portland for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then this morning I read on the AP that, the riots and the protests pretty much stopped in Portland in September 9th because the air quality was so bad due to the forest fires. Well, the wind shifted, the smoke blew out, and guess what started up again last night?
Yep.
Shenanigans, right? And I will give it to the AP. They actually said it was some violent and criminal acts going on, because that seems to get brushed aside real quick.
Here's the thing I learned.
Articles.
The people sitting around wondering why the police don't really get involved in Portland too much. And I just found this out. Apparently they got this old antiquated law in Portland that goes back to God knows when. The mayor of Portland is also the Portland Police Commissioner. So when you get voted into mayor, not only are you the mayor, but you are the commissioner, i.e., the head of the police. That would be like the president also being like the top general or major for the United States Army.
Mm-hmm.
And so that person's opinions on things have a direct control over other things. And so when the mayor kind of
John,
agrees with what's going on, they tell the police to back off and
what
city
we
burns
got
down.
here, sir, is called a conflict of interest.
Well, not for them. They're happy.
Oh yeah, they're real happy.
So the mayor has a direct, control over what goes on as far as that goes.
Now, one of the last things that some of these protesters tried to do is burn him out of his own condo.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that story?
No.
He actually sent out an apology to all his neighbors because so he can't and he was even there saying you can't use tear gas anymore. I'm with the the cause.
How's that working out for you?
And then they tried to burn him out of his own condo. So no good deed goes unpunished.
So I have a Savage race that was rescheduled. I think it's coming up in November. I really need to check the date because I'm not quite sure. And so I've been training different ways to get you ready for this. And as we've talked before, I've gone over to Morgan's place and did his Ninja Warrior course.
Correct.
And with all the races being shut down due to COVID, I did a virtual race. I think it did 50 miles in 1 month, or I can't remember. And then I did one with Carrie last week where she did the 5K for the coffee cup. Well, Spartan is one of these OCR races. They're one of the main ones. It's basically Spartan and Savage are the head ones. But Spartan race, the main thing that's different is when you get to an obstacle, if you can't do it, you have to do high impact aerobics, whether it's 10 burpees or 10 up downs, whatever, to advance on.
Why are they called burpees, by the way?
I don't know.
That is the weirdest name. Do they make you burp?
No, I don't know. Maybe it looks like a frog. I have no idea. But anyhow, I signed up for this virtual race, and it was, after shipping and handling, it was like $38. And like, shipping and handling for what? Well, whenever you do these virtual races, they send you a medal.
Right.
And so this virtual race was the Spartan Super, I think it was. All right, let me look. I'm not prepared. Yes, this was the Spartan Super. It was a 10K, which was 6 miles. But then you had to do a whole list of aerobics. And I did this today after you and I got done playing Call of Duty. I think it was like 90 degrees outside. And I figure, well, this is a great way to stretch. So let me bust this out quickly, or so I thought, before I go do the 6 mile run. Because 6 mile run's hard, but I've done it before. You got to do 10 push-ups, 10 burpees, 10 mountain climbers per side. It means per leg. 10 jumping jacks, 10 air squats, 10 forward lunges. That's 10 per leg. 10 tuck jumps, 10 planks up downs. That's where you're in the plank position. You go down on your knees and come back up, kind of like a push-up. 10 shoulder taps, 10 knee slap mountain climbers, 10 reverse lunges, 10 glute bridges, 10 dips, 10 decline push-ups, 10 single leg squats per side, 10 calf raises, a 10-second plank, a 10-second hold. 10-second hollow hold, 10-second squat, 10 sit-ups, 10 leg raises, 10 bicycle crunches, 10 V-ups, 10 Superman. So you do all that and then you go run. That took me 20 minutes. And then I went running. I got the mile 1.5, and I was like, holy shit. If you're a runner and you think your routine's getting easy, do that before you go. And by the time you get to mile 4.5, you feel like you're on mile 5 of a half marathon. Believe it or not, it beat me up. My time, because I started my Garmin. Now, the Garmin doesn't have a way to track the fitness side, but I figure, well, I'll do the fitness at the beginning, and then I'll do my run. The whole entire thing took me 137 minutes and 34 seconds.
There you
It
go.
was so damn hot that when I hit mile 3, and I got this on video, I'll put on YouTube, I came back to my house. I'm like, I want to spray myself down the hose. Because usually in Florida, when you do a 5K or 10K, they have misters out there you can run through because it's just too damn hot and humid.
Do misters actually work in Florida?
Yeah, all they do is they just put a little PVC pipe on a stick in the street and hook a water hose. So when you run through it, it gets you wet.
Right. No, we use misters out here, and I thought part of the reason it works is because it evaporates off you so quickly.
It just brings your body temperature down and drips. Luckily, I did because, well, the garden hose apparently has been left on since the last time the kid did some cleaning. So my water pump, because I'm on a well, which is responsible for maintaining the water pressure, has been maintaining the water pressure in that garden hose too. So I'm sure it's happy. So I did all that, and I felt bad that I did a lot of walking. But then I remembered, hey, I just did all this. It's hot. Plus, when you do a Savage race, you're not running the mileage straight or the Spartan race. You'll run quarter mile, do an obstacle, stop, and then run. And so by stopping the pace, long story short, I did it. It sucked. It was super hot. Here's the cool thing, though. Got this cool medal. And it's got this piece so that if you do all three of them, it creates another one. Then you got the Spartan on the back. And that's normal. But then the cool thing is the T-shirt. So I got a Spartan VR T-shirt. But
What's the VR short for?
Virtual race.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Now, I'm not a big fan of virtual races because you can buy the shit and not do the work. So if
you really want to...
So all my virtual race stuff is 100% earned. I actually don't even open the package until I complete the task. So anyhow, but here's the cool part. You're like, what's with the shipping? Because they can't do the races, they have all these sponsor packs. Usually when you go to these races, they got booths set up. You got guys selling CBD or health pack. Well, they sent the sponsor pack. Basically, this is the stuff they would have given out at the races. Keep in mind, before shipping, it was $25. I already got a T-shirt, a medal, some stickers, which I don't care about. They sent me this, which is like a protein snack.
Looks like jerky from this end.
A cold brew. A post-run race recovery drink, which is fine. But here's the kicker. They sent CBD oil. This shit's not cheap. So this in itself, this in itself is worth the price of all this shit. And so, yeah, this is actually 450 milligrams of CBD. So that in itself made all this shit worth it. So
is that cold brew coffee?
This is called Rise Nitro Brewing Company Oat Milk Latte Nitro Cold Brew Coffee, dairy-free.
How many milligrams of caffeine's in that son of a bitch?
Calories 110 per serving. It's a single serving, 7 ounces. Total fat 6%. Saturated fat. What'd you ask me? Sodium.
Caffeine milligrams.
Let me see if it's listed here. I don't know. This is a great pod though, because now I'm.
And the reason I'm asking is I had stumbled across some Black Rifle cold brew at the gas station.
Equals 1 cup of coffee. So 80 milligrams. 80
that
milligrams
Black
of caffeine.
Rifle, which was about the same size as that, had 200 milligrams of fucking caffeine in it. Holy cow. That's like 3 cups of coffee. And it got me going. But hey, I did find out burpee. I know what it's all about now. I know why it's called that.
What is that?
It's a little disappointing. I think the exercise was named in the 1930s for U.S. physiologist Royal H. Burpee. I think if you called it the Royal H, it would have
had more Royal H. Burpee. You must do 10 before proceeding on to the next course.
Yes, so it was applied teachers. In 1940, created the burpee exercise as part of his PhD thesis as a quick and simple way to assess fitness.
I'll tell you right now, I'm fucking tired. My legs hurt. And
how many burpees did you do again?
I only had to do 10, but then I had to do 10 up downs. It's just all that stuff. And by the way, I did it in my hot ass garage. No AC, no fan. I swept the floor. By the time I got up, I was still all dirty. So I did it out in the heat, and then I went and ran. And I did this at 5 o'clock.
If you want to step up your burpee game, if you're just not punishing yourself enough, you can do what's called the burpee push-up, also known as the Bastardo.
Mike Brumley, thank you for joining us. You are the Facebook listener of the week. Send us a private message with your address, and I will send you some free What's in Your Head podcast die-cut logos. We sent some out last week to that person, and so thank you so much for tuning in each week. You're in the lobby. I just looked down, picked it at random. So send us a message with your address, and we will ship off some What's in Your Head podcast stickers for your enjoyment.
So you know what the Bastardo is?
What's that?
You do a burpee, and then the athlete performs 1 push-up after assuming the extended plank position.
I actually did that because I wasn't sure what a burpee was. And so when you watch my YouTube video, you'll see me when I go up and then I actually go down and do the push-up.
Ah, you did a Bastardo.
Well, there's a lot of stuff. I don't do a lot of this stuff. So I looked at it, and then like with the 1-leg squat, you're supposed to do a squat with 1 leg, and I've never done this. So what I did instead, I kind of cheated, but I still did the 10, and it was still hard. I did what's called the 1-leg chair pose, and that's where you sit down with your right leg or left leg over your knee, and you sit down. So you're still on 1 leg, you're still in that crouch position, but instead of your leg being out straight, it's on your. So I did 10 of those, and there's a few of them that I did how I thought perhaps it needed to be done. I didn't want to stop and look at YouTube in the middle of this thing. I looked up a lot of them before I did it, but there was 1 or 2 I just did my own variation, but they're still hard. I didn't cheat. Another one's hands up push-ups. You do your push-up, You get on your chest, and then you pull your hands and your feet off the floor, kind of like reverse Superman. And then you go down to a push-up, come back, take your hands off
So
the
you're
floor.
holding your face off the floor with your chest?
Yes, and you lift your feet and your hands off the floor for a second, and then you go back. Had to do 10 of those. Luckily, I do a lot of push-ups, so that part wasn't hard. But yeah, so if you're into fitness and you're getting tired of doing your normal runs, even if it's not a virtual race, just add 30 or 40 different things that you have to do and get out there and do it. It sucked, but the hardest part is when you do these races, you really, and we've talked about in this past, the herd mentality. When you're around other people doing the same thing, even if you're not at the front of the pack, just having other people around you, and you know this from skateboarding, just having other people around you doing the same thing, it motivates you more. And so when you're out there and you've already spent 20 minutes doing this and you're out there running in the heat, and by the way, I had my trail shoes on because my initial intent was to go down the left and go do about 2 miles in the woods at the Yellow Fever Creek Sanctuary. But it was so hot and humid, and I said, you know what? I'm 42.
Hold on. That's extremely racist.
Yellow Fever Creek?
Yeah.
It's about people who died from yellow fever. Anyhow, you digress. But I got to thinking,
Why is it called yellow fever? Now I'm going to look.
I'm 42 years old. I come from a long line of men with heart disease problems.
Yeah.
If I'm going to pass out, I don't want to pass out in the woods where no one's going to see me. So I did a hard right, and I ran on the sidewalk. So I did all my sidewalk running with trail shoes on, which isn't too bad. It's just a little extra rubber, and it's got more traction on it. But anyhow, that was what I did today after you and I got done playing Call of Duty. And then I saw this.
Okay.
What's the worst thing about Walmart?
There's probably less good than there is bad.
What do you think of their customer service?
What customer service?
You ever been there at 3 in the morning and they're stocking the shelves and they don't give up about anything? Those hand carts go everywhere?
No, I'm usually sawing logs by that point in time.
Well, when you're younger and you went to Walmart.
Yeah,
Anyhow.
I guess.
So if you're Walmart and you're known for having shitty customer service, what do you do? What do you do? Do you fire them? Make an example of somebody?
No, you really can't, because who's going to replace them to work that crappy position? I think a lot of times they're just stuck.
Well, there's a lot of us after reading a story may think about quitting our jobs and getting a job at Walmart. Augusta, Georgia. If you're one of the millions of workers affected by the pandemic and you're looking for a job, you might want to head down to a good old Walmart. The company says 165,000 hourly workers will be receiving a pay raise in order to motivate the employees to assist customers better. Now, what do you think a quality hourly rate for a Walmart employee should be that you're trying to entice to actually talk to the customers and not, I don't know, I work in this department, I don't know where the towels are. I don't know.
Sorry, that's above my pay grade.
I'm on lunch. What would you feel is a respectable wage for that type of work they're doing?
Probably 10 to 12 bucks an hour.
Next month, hourly team members will start between $18 to $21 per hour. $18 to stand at Walmart and say, I don't know.
So everybody within the sound of my voice, go and look at some common items you buy at Walmart now and take a picture of the price. And then shortly, maybe a month or two after this kicks in, go back and take a picture of the price, because you know what? Ultimately, this does get passed on to the consumer.
I think you'll probably see it hidden more on the website than the storefronts, because they sell a lot of stuff online too, and there's less overhead there, so they can increase that.
I tell you, some of the things I've found on the Walmart site, full-on generators and ATS switches for electrical systems. I'm like, this is what you get from an electrical supply warehouse.
Well, a lot of that stuff they do.
And it's name brand, too. It's ASCO.
I think they're a middleman. I think they use their shipping instead of, because there's been computer power supplies that pop up on Walmart's website, and they don't sell computer power supplies. So I think they're kind of, but anyhow, pay could even go all the way up to $30 an hour at selected super centers. I guess those are going to be the really bad ones. But to pay somebody $30 an hour just to...
And that's what's incredible. Again, going through McDonald's recently. This morning, I'm on my way to get a haircut because I decided to go at 9 in the morning.
How'd that work out for you?
Wake up, roll through, and I pull up, and nothing. Nothing. The guy had just left there. I said, "Hey, hello. Yeah, what can I do?" It was that kind of. It's like, motherfucker. The first thing we learned was service with a smile instead of what the fuck you want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, God, it drives me nuts. So now you have to pay people more to be nice to their consumers. There's so much problems with that. I don't even know where to start.
That's just insane. Their whole model is going to go through the roof.
Oh, it is.
So we've
It
talked a few
is.
times about how I don't wash my jeans unless I work in them.
That's why you fucking smell when I'm around you.
Well, if I'm sitting in an office all day or working on computers, I'll go home, take my jeans off, fold them up. If I'm mowing the grass or working on a car or something, then yes, I'll wash them if I'm sweating and if I'm running wire. And the reason I don't wash my jeans is because I heard an interview with the CEO of Levi Strauss at the time and said you're not supposed to wash them. It causes them to
I've
dry
heard that
rot.
too.
It causes them to break down. Now, one
Well, how long are you expected to keep these fucking pants? Because
Forever.
after a year or two, they're done.
Not
I
mine.
get rid of them. They're done. They don't. Nope.
Local JC Penney's going out of business, and so they have their Levi's marked down to $23. So I've been stacking up.
Nice.
And so I bought a pair of Levi's, and there's a big ass tag in it. It says waterless. And on the tag it says, "Don't wash these jeans. Simply spot clean them, hang them out to dry." And I think, well, that's kind of interesting. First, the CEO goes out a few years ago, says you're not supposed to wash your jeans. You're supposed to dry rot them. And now they got certain pants that are treated with a different chemical. The denim feels a little different, and they're called waterless.
And how's that going to affect your health or any animal that licks your leg?
I don't know. But interestingly enough, on my phone, if I swipe to the left, Google suggests news stories. And I came across this one from Wired magazine
Okay.
entitled Science. That's the wrong one. Actually, no, that's the right one. Called "Your Beloved Blue Jeans Are Polluting Our Oceans Big Time." So Levi says, "Don't wash your jeans." Now they got
So they hang. So your blue jeans are hanging out with the straws.
Now they got waterless, not waterless, but waterless, meaning wash them less. It's a huge, big article. I'm not going to read it verbatim. I'll post it on our Facebook page. But long story short, every time you wash your jeans, especially if they have frays, the microfibers come out of your jeans and end up in the water. But they're so small that they don't, especially if you live by an ocean. But anyhow, a lot of those places, the fibers in your jeans end up in the water, and that ends up in the ocean somehow. And they're saying denim and polyester are the two worst contributors to this pollution in the ocean is the fibers from your jeans. And I'm like, oh, now it falls together. Levi probably has known this for a while, and that's why they're slowly saying, hey, don't wash your jeans, water less. So this is probably their attempt at trying to help minimize the impact on the environment, because whoever knew that the microfibers from your beloved denim pants are polluting the ocean?
Anything we do pollutes everything.
Maybe
now,
that's why all the movies
thing
from
with,
the 70s that took place in the 2000s, everybody's wearing like lycra suits. No one had denim. Maybe that's
Well,
why.
Well, then you've got, one of the big things is microplastics, right?
Yep.
In the oceans. Wouldn't that also be coming from polyester? Because
Yeah.
essentially polyester is a plastic. Now, one of the things with the water less, if you are a modern man or family or woman or whatever, and you have a modern washing machine, it hardly uses any water.
Yeah, and they don't have the agitator, so that will stop abusing your clothes. Because that agitator probably caused a lot of the friction on your material that's in there.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You ever looked
That
at a
is-
hat, though, or, you look at your hat or your favorite pair of jeans and your shirt, and you think, with the shirt and pants, not so much because that you wash them and you have the agitator and they get worn, but like a hat, something you don't ever wash. You ever looked at it and say, damn, that thing's beat up.
Mm-hmm.
But the only time that thing's been outside is when it's on my head.
And I'm sweating.
And then you realize how durable the human body is. I mean, here's your hat. Does nothing but sit on your head. Within 6 months, it looks like it's been ran over by a goddamn truck. But it's never been through a washing machine. It's never, if you're lucky, it's never been sat on by your kid in the back seat who doesn't look before they leave. I've had 2 of mine crushed.
2?
Yeah.
I thought it was 1.
1 and then 2.
Are they identical crush?
No, she just, if it's hot outside or I got my hair did and we're going someplace and I'm not in hat mode yet, but as my hair goes awry, I might be in hat mode by the end of the day. And so I put my hat on the rear passenger seat. And when she comes in the other side, she just throws all her shit, sits on it, drops bags on it, and everything else. It's like,
Got an idea for another YouTube video for you.
Okay.
Just popped in my head. You need to find some kind of thing to stick, maybe hang off your hook in the back or your rear window,
Yeah.
just to put your hats.
just like, yep. All right, I'll just put up a command strip.
Actually, I was kind of thinking that.
Yep.
How not to put on a sticker. You know?
And so I came across another. Well, I guess we can. Oh, we'll lead this into news. So you ready to do some news?
Might as well.
It's going to be a shorter show tonight because, well, I'm fucking exhausted. News and shit. News and shit. Now here's Gordon with some news and shit.
Joining us now from the Digital 410 West News Desk in Las Vegas, Nevada,
You like my Aunt
Gordon
Cabin?
Abernathy.
Hey, Gordon, join us live from Las Vegas, Nevada, while I'm down here in Tennessee. How are you with the news?
I am doing all right. I think I was able to suss through and not find too much bullshit to talk about this evening. You were actually going to lead into the news with a story.
When COVID started, where did we all think it began? Who was the originator? What started it all?
It was a bat.
A bat. Where at?
Wuhan.
Wuhan. Well,
Wet market.
last week I was swiping left and found an article that my phone suggested that says
Hey, you may want to be careful with that because it could give out the wrong idea.
September 17th, 2020. Scientists may know where the coronavirus originated, study says. After all these months, we know.
It's
I
kinda
thought
like
we
math.
knew, but apparently scientists have to figure it out.
Well,
Not gonna-
science does science, and it takes a while.
I'm not going to read the whole article. I'm just going to get to the point. Cedar Point, America's roller coaster.
America's roller.
Thank you for writing Cedar Point, America's roller coaster. Months into the coronavirus pandemic, researchers are still investigating the actual event where the crossover of the novel coronavirus from animals to humans occur. A team of scientists may have discovered the answer to the question we've all been asking for months.
Was it a meteor?
According to the study published by Natural Microbiology,
UFO.
a group of scientists from the United States, China, and Europe compared mutation patterns of the SARS-CoV-2, the virus that caused COVID-19, to other viruses and created the evolutionary history related to our viruses. Discovered the lineage responsible for producing the virus that was created by COVID-19 pandemic has presented in bats.
You don't fucking say, God, that's news. Hey, speaking of
It's been
lineage,
months. We've all known it's from bats. And there's this huge article talking
Were
about
they lab
coronavirus and how they we figured it out. It came from bats.
were these bats in a cave or in a lab?
We already knew this.
I get that, but I'm still asking the question.
We already knew
Were
it
they
came from
bats
bats.
in a cave or are they bats in a lab?
The author says the group of researchers were incorrect in suggesting the evolution change occurred with blah blah blah. They don't say which bats, but yeah, it comes down to what we already knew months ago. That's bats.
That's driving me batty. I'm sorry, that's fucking horrible. I picked that joke up off the phone.
Yeah, that one fell flat.
I'll dust it off for next time. All
A
right.
little fun for you Ohio listeners. You know Les Wexner, right?
Les Wexner, Leslie Wexner, the former CEO, I think, he could be current, of the Limited Brands.
No, he's gone. You know why he's gone?
Probably was Me Too'd somewhere.
I wanted to read you the story from Business Insider, but it keeps taking the story away, asking me to sign up. Long story short, back in the 90s, he met this interesting money manager. He ended up buying a house for him in New York City.
New York City.
Had a lot of business relationships with this young man, this little young go-getter who
Had a fire in his belly,
got a fire in his belly, a
steel in his eyes.
few short years later, bought himself an island, some private planes.
Had the fire festival.
He bought fucking Epstein his house.
Wah, wah, wah,
So that is why the guy who lives in Palo, Ohio, or on the outskirts, who had a huge hill built in front of his house and trees, so you couldn't see his trees from the street. The guy whose kitchen and dining room is on hydraulic jacks and goes up to the second floor for when they have big ass parties, has basically been kicked out of all the businesses that he helped started because the sick fuck was a close associate with Epstein. So, yep. It's that dude just, it's so sick how many people had
There
some
was
sort of
always,
relationship with him.
There was always theories that about Les Wexner.
I remember skating at the Wexner Center.
The Wexner Center at the Ohio State University.
Yeah.
The Wax Palace is what I believe they called those curbs.
Yep. But yeah, it's just crazy. It's like, especially growing up in Columbus and hearing about Les Wexner all the time. And yeah, he bought the guy's house. No big whoop.
How was he to know?
Yeah, that's great.
Anyway.
Well, what did he know? How far did his relationship go?
That's true.
How many trips did he make to that island?
Speaking of Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
you drank beer back in Ohio.
Yep.
What was one of your favorite beers from back in Ohio?
Back then, though, dude, it was such a cliche. It was like, we're talking, and I wasn't a fan of it. We're talking to the era of Red Dog. I didn't drink it. There was a lot of
Ice
that,
House.
drinking it in part. Ice House was big. Zima with the Jolly Rancher Kool-Aid. Then you had what was the lemony? No, the lemony ones that you and I drank before we'd go mountain biking. We put the stickers on our bike. The
Mike's Hard Lemonade.
no, it was the clear bottle with the red logo. They're making a comeback. It's I can't believe I forget what it is. I got so drunk on it in Ohio, I threw up all over the place.
Well, I can tell you what it wasn't called.
What's
it wasn't
that?
called Yingling.
Oh, Yingling is huge down here. I remember I moved down here. The Yingling plant for Florida is in Tampa, right down the street from Busch Gardens. And so when you go to Busch Gardens, there's the plant. And so I've been drinking off and on Yingling since 2001. I remember on Facebook how all our friends went completely apeshit in Ohio when Yingling moved to Ohio and started selling beer like back in 2012, 2013. And it was like the greatest thing for everybody, at least on according to their Facebook page. What's going on? Yingling pulling out of Ohio?
No, Yingling, also known as America's
Your audio just plummeted.
also known as America's
Oldest brewery.
oldest brewer, is now invading, as they're putting it, the West Coast.
Yep. So they started in
West
Florida.
Coast. Yes, so they're letting you know because the way it's spelled is a little weird. It is pronounced Yingling.
Yep.
And D.G. Yingling and Son, America's oldest operating brewer, is sending some cold ones out this way. And
You ever had it?
For the first time since they started making beer in what year?
Oh, I think it was like 1792.
1829. Close enough.
Yep. I don't know what happened. Tap your mixing board. Your audio dropped by half. I got you pegged on my mixing board just to make you audible.
Is this better?
We'll go a little
Is this
more.
better? A little more.
Anyhow,
Testing.
we're almost
Testing, 1,
done.
2.
So go. You're good
Okay,
enough.
anyway. So the brewery, which is actually 2 hours northwest of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, announced a joint venture with Molson Coors on Tuesday to break out beyond its traditional 22 state. So they're already in 22 states in the east and go west. So so anybody who's a Yingling fan from back east who lives out west,
It's coming your way.
has arrived.
What's up, Bill Howard from the Unsupervised Podcast? He's on our Facebook live stream. Hey, send me a message with your address again, and I will send you one of these glamorous What's in Your Head podcast die-cut stickers. You just tell me what color you want. For the rest of you, you can either wait and hope that one week we pick you, which we may, or you can finally did it. It's done. Head over to d-410.com. Click on the merch link, and inside the merch link, there's a link where you can order your sticker. Now, it is kind of rudimentary because it's simply a single PayPal button that doesn't allow much interaction between me and you. The default sticker is white, but if you want a color change after you pay for it, send me a message on Facebook with your confirmation number, and I'll make whatever color you want. Any color in the rainbow, just tell us, and we'll make the sticker that color if you want to match your car or whatever you're putting it on. But head on over there. You can get the What's in Your Head podcast stickers. You can get the I haven't done the Failed to Fail yet, but the What's the Scuttlebutt podcast is up there. And after you order your sticker, head on over and click on that beautiful big orange Patreon link and sign up for Patreon. Patreon helps supports the show, helps pay for my cabin in Tennessee. Not so much. It's just an image off Google. And helps keep the live stream up and running. And thank you guys for that. It's $1 a month. If you want to sign up for the bigger plan, it's $3.50, and the even bigger plan is $7.50 a month. But that one gets you a free T-shirt after month 2, and all the people on Patreon get free stickers. So if you're an OG5 member, don't even go to the website and buy these. You can just message me, tell me what color, and if you want a sticker of one of the other podcasts on the network, we will send you that too. And of course, as always, as you can see by the logo, if you're on the live stream and if you're listening, you know that this episode of the What's in Your Head podcast is brought to you by our friends at Act Computers. Act Computers has been providing IT solutions and support for all of Southwest Florida since 2004. Whether you need computer repair, server expansion, network expansion, two-form authentication, online backups, or virus protection, they can help you out. Give them a call at 239-283-1120 if you're in Southwest Florida, you need some Cat5 wire and any fun stuff like that done. They can help. Give them a call at 239-283-1120. And if you're outside of Southwest Florida, we can still help you. Give them a call or go to their website at act-capecoral.com and reach out through the contact link there. And with your permission and a little assistance over the phone, they will log into your computer and help you with all your computer problems wherever you may be. You can be in Australia. We can help you out. We can hook you up. Give them a call, 239-283-1120, or as a lot of people do, send them a private message on their Facebook. Head over to Facebook, look for Act Computers, like and subscribe, and you can send messages there. And that about covers all that. What else you got on your story time?
You're an animal lover.
Yeah, unfortunately. Anybody want any birds?
We have a family member who is an animal breeder.
Uh-huh. What they breeding?
This isn't about what they breed. And this is a story about a type of cat our family member has.
Mm-hmm.
And his name is Spartacus.
Spartacus! This is
the
Sparta.
serval cat.
Serval cats are huge. They stand up about 4 feet on their back legs, if not taller.
Well, imagine living in a place where a serval cat got out of their house.
I just dumped a shit ton of CBD oil on my pants because the stupid thing wouldn't come off.
Well, your leg's going to feel good later.
No, that sucks. That's a lot of CBD oil.
You just wasted it. That right there is what we call a party foul.
I just basically, it's down to here now because the stupid lid wouldn't come off. Yeah.
It's like $80 worth of CBD oil.
Probably.
You just dumped on yourself.
Tastes
Anyway.
Tastes like maple syrup.
So in a little town called Merrimack, New Hampshire, a 40-pound African serval named Spartacus has been found safe and sound after escaping from his home and spending days in a New Hampshire wild.
I'm sorry. If you got like a $4,000 cat, put a chip in that son of a bitch. I mean, obviously it's not a tracking device, but always somebody else finds it and they take it to the vet for an update and try to steal it.
So if you're out in the woods and you know nothing about a serval, and you see that motherfucker, you probably think because it is legitimately an African wildcat.
Mm-hmm.
You'd probably be going in the other direction, right?
There were stories a couple years ago about servals and large Bengal cats getting loose in the city like Chicago and shit, and people like freaking out thinking a zoo animal got out.
So the cat was trapped near its home and is in good health, according to Merrimack Police. And this is on their Facebook on that last Friday. The animal had been returned to his owner, Dean King, who previously told the Associated Press that Spartacus had run away on Wednesday after getting spooked by the family dog.
This is French vanilla mocha, so my whole room smells like coffee now.
So your cabin's your palatial estate is reeking right now. So King adopted Spartacus from a Florida zoo 4 years ago.
Look at that. That's what a stain, huh?
So from Florida to New Hampshire. Just in, D-Train dumps CBD oil all over him.
These are new pants. That's gonna stain. So he traveled.
Welcome to the We Don't Got Our Shit Together podcast.
We're consistently inconsistent. It happens. It's a live show. I mean, who else spills goddamn $20 of CBD oil in their lap? But anyway.
So the family that owns this cat owns it legally and has a permit. So I'm sure even like in Nevada, you'd have to have a permit for this type of cat. And that cat does live indoors, spending days in an enclosure and roaming the family house at night. Tell you what, if you were a criminal and you were to look into a window and all of a sudden that cat popped up and hissed at you, would you break in?
No, and I don't know if serval cats are like Bengal cats, but our Bengal cat, when it was younger, it would get a wild hair up his ass, and it would literally back you into a corner ready to pounce on you and claw the living shit out of you. There's been multiple times when Loki was younger, he'd back us in a corner, or he would chase you down and jump on your back. I could imagine if a serval cat did that. It's like having a goddamn bobcat running around your house.
You're now the mouse.
Yeah, right?
So you've lived in California, yay?
Yup.
You ever been to Yosemite when you were out to California, yay?
No, I went to Big Bear, but I never went to Yosemite.
When you go to hike in California, yay, or anywhere out west, what is one of the things you have to worry about?
Bobcats, mountain lions,
About
dehydration. Oh,
Rattlesnakes.
rattlesnakes. We have those in Florida too, but I've never seen one.
So, well, I evidently have to move. Rattlesnakes bit 2 hikers in August in Yosemite. So if you are planning a trip out to Yosemite National Park,
Wear your
And
snake
it's-
boots.
not just a fire advisory you've got to worry about.
If you're
You
40,
just got to remember rattlesnakes.
go in your closet and find your pole climber boots that you wore in high school in 1993 when you're listening to Marilyn Manson, and wear those things so that they bite your legs. You'll be safe from the knee down.
So needless to say, and this is going to be more of a PSA, 2 hikers got bit in August. One of them, and his guy was in his mid-30s, stepped onto a rock, causing it to shift under his weight, and suddenly a
asshole,
rattlesnake appeared from underneath said rock
Ugh,
and bit him in his foot.
damn.
So they went, everything was taken care of. But the question is what do you do and what do you not do if you encounter or are bitten by a rattlesnake?
It depends on where you're at, I guess. If you have cell phone service.
Yeah, well, you don't use a tourniquet if you're bitten by a snake. You want
Let's say
to
you
apply
don't
ice and try to suck the venom out. And we've all seen the funny westerns when they're like, I got bit on my ass. I need you to suck it out.
What was the
uh,
line on Caddyshack 2 when he got bit by, when Dan Aykroyd got bit by the snake? He's like, if I pull it, will you suck it? And the other guy's like, what, you pull, I suck? What's in it for me?
So here's what you should do if you encounter a rattlesnake. If you see a snake, stay away. And we
Yeah.
have them out here in Vegas too. Only can strike from a distance half their size. Be mindful of where you step and reach with your hands. If you think you hear one, stand still. Just because a snake doesn't have a rattle doesn't mean it's not a rattlesnake. Babies do often have them, and the adult ones can break off. If you're bitten again, stay calm, seek medical attention. Do not use a tourniquet, apply ice, or try to suck the venom out. So I know rattlesnakes are real big here this spring. I haven't bounded into one in my yard yet, and kind of fearing the day that happens. I am a little bit like
Shoot the son of a
Indiana
bitch!
Jones when it comes to seeing snakes. Don't really care for them. Yeah, and then you'll get arrested because you discharged a firearm
in a
within Clark
residential
County
property.
limits.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all I really have for the news.
We need to wrap it up anyhow because all I can smell is maple syrup. It's so insane how
Oh, I did learn a new word, a new slang.
Boston
Evidently,
styles.
hot dogs are now called glizzies.
say what?
Hot dogs are apparently called glizzies these days.
Never heard that. I know I've heard up in Matt's Red Hots, a lot of people refer to them as hots, but
Yep.
never heard that.
So, but yeah, that's what I heard. But yeah, that is all I've got.
Thank you guys for joining
Back to
us
you.
for another episode of the What's in Your Head podcast. Please head over to D-410. Click on the links that we stated below. Share us with your friends. The numbers are up. I could pay YouTube or Facebook $10 and I'll share it with 30 people. Or you guys can tell people for free. That'd be cool. But anyhow, thank you guys so much for continuing to support the show and tuning in each week. Like I said before, Brumley and Howard send us private messages to get you a free sticker. And if you guys don't want to buy one and you hope you get a free sticker, join us next week. We'll pick another 2 people to send them out. Gordon, where can people find you?
I can be found at Aegis1974 on Instagram, Gordon at D410 on Facebook, and Abernathy.Gordon on Twitter, which I never, ever, ever check.
Now, head over to D-410.com. Click on the social media link to find all my social stuff. And right now, before the 16th, you can download TikTok and come find me. But if you don't download TikTok by the 16th of the next month, actually, I think it's this weekend. Starting by, I think, tomorrow, they're going to try to encourage Google and iTunes to remove the TikTok app from their store. It's not going to affect anybody who already has it, but it's going to prevent new people from joining until I think November 16th is the new deadline for the big buyout. Apparently, for some reason, they weren't happy that Oracle was supposed to buy them. They didn't meet the standards in which they were concerned about. But you can find me over on TikTok as well. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, and we will see you next week.
This has been a Digital 410 production.